Good evening, my name's Alex Campbell and you're watching the third episode of Examining Cinema. On today's episode, I'll be examining the 80s cult classic, Shogun Assassin.
Shogun!
Now you might be wondering what exactly Shogun Assassin is, and what it is a re-edit of two 70s Japanese samurai movies which was re-released in the 80s for an American and British audience.
At night, we make fire and have our tea, and we listen for the ninja.
The two films that were re-edited for this cut are from the Lone Wolf and Cub series, which has 6 films in the series. And it's a re-edit of the first two movies, The Sword of Vengeance, 1971, and Baby Cart at the River Styx, 1971. So the basic storyline of this movie is that the Shogun's assassin is banished from his role and becomes a ronin. He wanders through the countryside with many assassins on his tail and is also an assassin himself for hire. He carries with him his young son in a carriage after his wife was killed. And basically, bloody battles ensue.
You are marked for death. Wherever you go, you cannot escape.
This movie is great. I love it, especially this edit of it. The original 72 version is good, and it's a really high violence, brutal, stylized samurai movie. But this movie, this cut, this version, it has something else. The score that's added to it, and the dubbing, and the voiceover which was added to it, just twists it in a certain way and tips it over the edge of batshit crazy. So as I said, unlike the original Japanese version, this movie has a voiceover from the baby. And I actually think it adds to the movie in a lot of parts. You might say it's for a dumber audience, the baby's just explaining what's happening, but I think in a lot of instances, it works.
My father was famous. He was the greatest samurai in the empire. And he was the Shogun's decapitator. He cut off the heads of 131 lords.
Also, the original Japanese cut is very sparse of music. There's not much at all, which is weird in a lot of scenes. And there'd just be little flares every now and then, like a or something of that nature. But this edit just straight up has some crazy 80s synth drum and bass music over the top of it. Sometimes the music doesn't fit and feels out of place, and a lot of the scenes from this movie have a completely different context with this weird music compared to the original version. But I think overall the music adds to it and it gives it something else, life and a flavour. Some of the choices are a bit odd though, and I don't think if I was a composer I would have certainly gone for that tone. So one of the best elements of this film is the practical gore. Check it out. Absolutely amazing. I remember sitting through 3 samurai movies which were shown on SBS, and at the end of them I'm like, oh fuck this. I just want to watch an actual bloody samurai movie, and I put on Shogun Assassin in the first 5 minutes. I was just like, yes. This is what I was wanting all night for 10 hours. Thank you, Shogun Assassin. So in a flashback scene, we see Ogami and his child. Ogami is the main character, the Shogun's assassin, if you will, or the lone wolf. And after his wife is murdered and he's betrayed, before he gets confronted by the rest of the Shogun's assassins, he gives his kid a choice. Basically, you're going to come with me and enter a life of hell, or you're just going to go and be with your mother.
Choose the sword, and you will join me. Choose the ball, and you join your mother.
So he puts a sword and a ball down on the table, full ready to just murder his kid if his kid unwillingly goes for the sword.
Come, boy. Choose life or death.
Also in the original Japanese cut, you see one of his jobs as the Shogun's assassin, and he murders like a 3-year-old straight up. Brutal motherfucker. This guy is also just like the most skilled, excellent, precise, brilliant warrior of all time. He just cuts through gangs and gangs of highly trained ninjas and samurais. He's not invincible though, because there is a scene where he gets badly injured and almost dies, which is good. We don't want to be watching a Superman type character.
And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of Superman.
I like the fact that he's just crazy excellent. This edit of the film also has a far quicker pace. Obviously they're condensing 2 movies into one, so they cut out a lot of the story and dialogue and explaining why the Shogun's assassin is kicked out and why they're after him, and they just kind of brush over it like, yeah, he's exiled and people are trying to kill him. Which is fine, they're just trying to get to the brutal blood and gore. I noticed a lot of the fight scenes too had been edited. They hadn't just deleted scenes, they'd actually reworked and re-edited all of the scenes. Just trimming down the shots so the shots are a lot quicker and a lot faster in a lot of the action scenes to give it a more pacey, upbeat feel. They also give it a lot more modern sound effects, and it really conveys the violence in a lot of the scenes, more so than the original. So I discovered this film through Kill Bill Volume 2. There's a scene where the bride is laying down with her daughter watching a movie, and the movie is Shogun Assassin.
Mommy, do you want to watch a video with me before sleepy time?
Oh yeah, I would love to. Which one do you want to watch?
Shogun Assassin.
No, BB. Shogun Assassin is too long.
No, it's not.
And my friend just picked up on that line. I was like, hey, you should download this movie. And I did. And boy, am I glad I did.
One man and one child defy the most notorious masters of death on the planet.
You don't get to see the father-son dynamic a lot in movies. It's like the odd couple, the brooding, angry guy, and the silly guy. But I really like it, and I think they should do it more in film. Not with Indiana Jones though. Shia LaBeouf can die in a terrifying house fire for all I care.
Do it!
So as well as his assassin father, this kid kicks ass. He's about 3, and his cart has inbuilt swords and knives. There's also a scene where a bunch of female ninjas are showing a guy their expertise. And basically they're like, if you can get through this door, you'll survive. And yeah, the scene is brutal. They all surround him and cut slivers of his face off. You see his ear hit the ground with a piece of skin and his nose. Also, they keep the swords in an interesting place. Not quite sure what that's trying to imply, but there you go, Shogun Assassin. So like a lot of other dubbed movies, they don't care a lot for the source material. They're just trying to fit anything into their lips while they're moving.
We see your trap. You can never escape your fate. submit with honor to a duel with my son, Lord Kurando.
It's also an interesting scene that they changed. I'm not really quite sure why. Ogami's fee for murdering someone is 500 pieces of gold in the original Japanese version, and in Shogun Assassin they changed it to 1,000?
Check, please. 1,000 pieces of gold.
Maybe they thought a Western audience wouldn't think 500's enough, so they just thought we'll change it to 1,000. But just that little tiny detail stuck out to me, and I was like, that's weird. So the leader of these female ninjas who we've seen before confronts the Shogun's assassin, and she ends up being defeated and running away. And check out this scene. That's just fucking batshit crazy. She just runs backwards at like 500 miles an hour, and Ogami's just like, So Ogami is hired to kill the Shogun's brother, believe it or not, and he's being guarded by these 3 enemies. One who has a claw, one who has a club, and one who has an iron fist. I just love these guys. They're the greatest Japanese stereotypical villains ever. Their big hats and their crazy samurai weapons is just amazing.
The Shogun has many enemies.
And the end showdown between Ogami and these guys in the desert is just amazing, and I love the violence. It's so stylized and artistic.
Your technique is magnificent.
There's also a lot of interesting shots in this movie, and I think the director did a really good job, and he really does some interesting and different things which a normal Western movie of the time wouldn't have done. And there's a really weird scene where Ogami's son is like touching this chick's boob. And it comes off really, just creepy and wrong and weird. Now in the original Japanese version, there's a scene that it shows where he's breastfeeding from his mother, and after his mother's died, some other breastfeeding mother feeds him. So I think what the scene is trying to be is the kid's lonesome for his mother, but without the context of those 2 previous scenes, it's weird. And with the context of those 2 previous scenes, it's still weird. Japanese, man, what can you say? In conclusion, Shogun Assassin is amazing. It's highly stylized, it's really weird, it's incredibly violent, there's great effects, cinematography is great, some really interesting shots and odd weird moments. I recommend watching it and watching all 6 films in the Lone Wolf and Cubs series. Thank you for watching, and it'd really help out if you could like, subscribe and comment. Good night.
I only remember the Shogun's ninja hunting us wherever we go, and the bodies falling, and the blood